And that is just one of many cases of brazen gender-based violence. Many of these are reported and another significant are not. But painfully, very painful all the same, I should say. Some end up in damaged bodies, emotions and persons, while others, unfortunately, in death. Amid the campaigns to stem the vice, cases of violence in the home, workplaces, social scenes and more persist. Leila Mohammed delves into the issue and seeks to understand why this continues to happen to both men and women while engaging those who employ different means to spread the gospel of change.
Hakunanga ajizu ya kushikananga ho. Ni muhimu aisee kutokelezea, munaenda munajibamba, muna sort issues out.
A song that is in tune with an experience which was a distant one until it struck close home for Tony Muguna, who says he never thought much about gender-based violence until...
In the hood, there was a lady who was attacked by boyfriend from 12th floor. She was alikuwa anataka kumurushia huko juu.
Hers was a fortune case of walking out alive. For others, it ended fatally.
So the main problem we have right now is awareness. And awareness will help us in two ways. One, to curb the trend. And two, to protect the vulnerable from being the victims. Slightly
over a week ago, the buried bodies of a woman and her 2 children who were killed were discovered in shallow graves in Nanyuki. The estranged lover is facing charges of their murder.
We have a very angry society.
Thursday night, on the eve of her graduation, another young woman was gang raped and her arm slashed. Gender-based violence is not a preserve of women being the victims, as men are also abused by women. Many other cases and many other concerns on why society's conscience seems to be degenerating.
All emotions are healthy because they're an indicator of something. It's how we react when we have these emotions that is most of the times not a healthy way of venting them out.
The threats of gender-based violence showed up on the floor of the National Assembly.
I will punch this lady who's making noise to me. Don't make noise here.
And though they appear to have quickly been downplayed, they set a bad example for those who look up to the leaders they voted into office.
Besides wanting to beat me, and I challenge you.
Psychologists say that the root of the problem is how society has chosen to live, the values inculcated in the younger generation, and what informs the need for this to change and change fast.
No one is putting an emphasis on the informal education, which is what I would call life skills, or teaching on how to survive through this life. You know, the basic life skills of communication, in terms of building relationships, the life skill of how to stand up for yourself and setting boundaries.
The individualism that has become more common has been cited as a cause of more harm than good.
And it is time for us to sit down and ask ourselves, how do we resolve this issue? And I think for me, one of the issues is that we go back to church. Bring people back to the things of God, where we call sin, sin. And we deal with it.
At the Campus Me Too initiative, which was launched this week, both young men and women were handed a safe space to report incidents of sexual intimidation in exchange for grades.
How are we proactive as a society to educate, doing what we call psycho-education of the masses in terms of boundary setting, in terms of building on their self-esteem, and in terms of guarding who they are as being male or female.
But even in the darkness of the cloud of violence in the society, there remain people who have chosen to make that difference and be